What's going on there, YouTubers? This is ODC, that's me, and I'm back with another action figure review. This is my review from the Batman Legacy line from Mattel. This was the Modern Age Batman. I really like this Batman's look. His body mold or body buck is a really good mold of it. It's basically they completely reused the mold from the DC Superheroes line, the black and gray version, and including the utility belt and everything. Pretty much everything except for the head sculpt was reused from the DC Superheroes line. So I'll get to the negatives and positives. There's not too many negatives. There's only one negative I really have with this figure, and that's about it. But I'll get to that in a minute. Let me set him aside real quick, and we'll get to the packaging. He'll stand up. There we go. And here it is. This Batman Legacy line actually started the packaging. This was the beginning for the DC Unlimited line's packaging, which is pretty much almost the same, except the picture of the character is now on the other side. This is, if you're viewing from your viewing side, if you want to consider this your right, it would be on your left, as you can see here. Do a quick packaging. Here's a Hawkman. So basically, that's pretty much what you're getting. They just basically took their ideas from this line and applied it to this line, which I really like. So, not talking too much about packaging because a lot of people don't like it and they're like, oh, hurry up and get to the figure already. So I'll just do that. I'm pretty sure everybody knows the story of Batman. So if you want to read that, you can, by all means. The other two figures in the wave were Mr. Freeze and the Joker. It was the first appearance of Joker and the purple and pink version of Mr. Freeze. With that being said, here, bring the figure back in. And if this will focus, there we go. He did come with two accessories, as most people that owned figures from this line would know. Let me set him back here real quick. He did come with a display stand. It's a silver one. And a little bit of a mispackaging here. It says Mr. Freeze on it. Not a big deal. I'll probably just black that out and still use the stand. The only real problem I think I have with this stand is that the peg is not tall enough. So if you're going to stand them on this, that peg doesn't really help them to stand because it's so short. Yeah, so there you go. It's got the Batman symbol and says DC on the inside. And his other accessory was a nice little poster, which never will be probably used because I can never get these posters to properly stay straight because they've been curled for so long. But there's the poster. It looks really nice picture of Batman there, kind of jumping from a tree or something like that. A cave. Oh, it's a cave, not a tree. But there's Batman jumping from a cave with a bunch of bats. Really nice picture, like that. So roll that back up. And then we'll bring Batman in here. Yeah, so like I said before, they basically reused his body buck, or body mold, or whatever term you'd like to use, from the DC Superheroes line. And I was really, really happy that they did when they first released that they were going to do this figure. And I was like, oh yes, they're finally reusing that body mold, because it's like basically everybody's favorite body mold for Batman. The traditional look for Batman, the more not to say that he's the it's just the most wanted look for Batman, I think, because he had the sculpted bat symbol in his chest, which looked really great. The utility belt looks phenomenal. I like the big pouches. Looks really good. Now, the drawbacks to this... I also wanted to point out, actually, I like how the cape is molded differently from the DC Universe Classics Batman. I'll bring in DC Universe Classics Batman here. As you can see, the cape is more kind of almost over the shoulder look, and he's got it all the way tucked back, kind of like ready to be in action or ready to throw down in a fight. And okay, I'll scoot him back out of here. I would say the only real big drawback from this figure was the head sculpt. And I mean, that's blatantly obvious. I am not a big fan of open mouth head sculpts. There's a lot of people have given this head sculpt a lot of different nicknames: the poopy face Batman or the constipated Batman. I think this head sculpt, I mean, it's not I don't think it's necessarily a horrible head sculpt. To say it's horrible, I don't think it's that. I just think it's if they gave him two heads and this was like an optional head, that would have been great. But just to have this kind of displayed like this, you really kind of have to have him in a fighting pose or like a dynamic pose to like really get. You can't just have him standing there making that face. It just looks awkward. But to each his own. I mean, some people like this and some people don't. I'm not a big fan of it. I would tend to say that I don't like it just because when I pose my figures, I usually have them in pretty much more of a natural pose or a vanilla pose. There's the quotation marks. This figure is a really great figure. If you just, all you have to really do is just, if you have an extra Batman, or you can pick up an extra Batman with a black cowl, you could basically just do a quick head swap just using some hot water, and it'll pop right on. It's very easy. With this guy, I'll probably eventually get to doing that, but I also own the DC Superheroes Batman, so I'll bring in that guy for a quick comparison, just in the face sculpt wise. As you can see here, this face sculpt is very sought after because it really gives you the essence of a Bruce Wayne behind the cowl. It's probably one of the best face sculpts that we've gotten, but if you did not have a chance to get this guy, and he does go for quite a bit, I also did do a review on this guy. He was actually my first review I did on my channel, but also I wanted to get to some of the differences between these two, because although they did reuse the same body, there are bits and pieces which are different, and I'll get to that right now. As you can see, the cape is almost similar. It seems like there's like a touch more, maybe not. It seems like there's a bit more gloss on this guy's cape than this one. And his belt is obviously colored very differently. This is more of a like an orange beige, and this is more of a brown beige, if you want to do that, or like a khaki color. But and the boots are also glossy on the modern age Batman from the Batman Legacy line, and they are not glossy on the DC Superhero. So those are your, and obviously the head sculpt, and those are your differences between the two. The gloves are pretty much the same. Everything's pretty much the same except for the head sculpts and the different paint apps. But if you're really looking to want your own version of the DC Superheroes, this is the cheap way to go. You can find this guy pretty much everywhere. The other only drawback I really have on this guy is that, and I've seen a lot of people's reviews, are his bicep swivels. I'm going to forewarn you. Warning, danger, Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson. Be very careful with the swivels on his bicep, because a lot of people, either put too much pressure on them when they just pull them out of the package, or they're not maneuvering them delicately. They do snap off here at the bicep, and I mean, you can try and re-glue it. I've seen people say, I try to re-glue it and it keeps falling off. So just be careful. I'm just warning you just to watch out, because this one is this bicep swivel right here is excessively tight. So I'm not going to be putting any pressure on that at all. This one wants to move a little bit, but I'm probably not going to be using these bicep swivels too much, which kind of sucks. But this figure you can find relatively. He's relatively a common guy, being as there are more made of him than the DC superheroes. But yeah, really great sculpting on the boots here. Awesome sculpting with the bat symbol on the back, on the bottom of the boot. Looks really nice. I like the sculpting on the gloves. It looks really, really cool. And obviously you have a sculpted bat symbol there, which is really nice. Yeah, it's really just that face sculpt. If you could just pop one of these guys on, I would do it, because that, and then you have a really nice Batman. But to each his own. Like I said before, if you like this face sculpt, then by all means keep it on. Yeah, so if I had to rate this figure, I would probably give this guy, see, if he had a different face sculpt, I would probably give this guy like a 10. But the face sculpt kind of gives it a huge drawback, so I'll probably give this guy a 9. So I'm going to take a point away for the face sculpt, because that's a big part of a figure, is that face sculpt. You can have everything else right, and if that face sculpt is messed up, it's not perfect. But I mean, no figure is perfect. But let me get to articulation real quick, because I'm babbling and I'm going on and on about things that I've already talked about. So his head does swivel back and forth. It does do a full 360. It doesn't have a great range of motion going up and down. His head just kind of does this jiggle thing, like a wiggle it. But his arm does go up and down, and swivels, does do a full 360. Like I said, the bicep swivel is there to move, but just be careful with it, because they've been known to snap off. The arm does move at the elbow at a single joint, and it has a glove swivel, no wrist articulation at all, which is fine with me. It does have an ab crunch, which works forward, more so forward than back. And he does have a waist swivel, T-jointed hips. This guy's a little stiff, so I'm going to try and take it easy on him. Does go out, forward, and back with the leg motion. He does have an upper thigh swivel, a single bend at the knee, and ankle hinge at the boot. So yeah, sorry for going on. I know my newer videos are not as long with these action figures, but there was a lot of comparisons. Actually, you know what? I'll do a size comparison real quick before I let you guys go. Let me get him standing up all the way here. There we go. And here is your size comparison. So he is a touch shorter than the DC Universe Classics Batman, but he's still in scale. He works. I think it's mostly just his head articulation that makes him look a little shorter. It could be the body though too. And here he is standing up next to his twin brother, except for the face sculpt. So he's around the same size. I'd say his ears are a little bit taller than his ears, so he's a touch taller, but nothing crazy. So yeah, that's basically going to conclude my my review here of the Batman Legacy Modern Age Batman. Go pick him up. He's a great find. He's a great addition to anybody's DC collection, especially if you're a Batman fan. Definitely pick this guy up. Do a head swap to him, and he's a great figure. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you agree or disagree, rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the flip side.